this is it, ladies and gentlemen. We finally end off our coverage of the SEGA Arcade Classics Collection for the SEGA CD with a look at Columns. Before I begin though, I should point out that this is the 4-in-1 collection. There's also a 5-in-1 collection which included Super Monaco GP. However, that was released after this version and I never bothered to pick it up for just one game. And I do think I mentioned that in a previous review, but whatever. The only difference between this version of Columns and the Genesis version is that the title card has CD audio, but the rest of the game is absolutely identical. Why they bothered altering only the title card is beyond me, but hey, they removed the multiplayer from Golden Axe, so who knows what Sega was on at this point in time. Columns was originally created in 1989 by Jay Gertzen and released on several early computer platforms such as the Atari ST before Jay sold the rights to Sega in 1990. And Sega would go ahead and port this to every single platform known to mankind, starting with the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive. Columns was one of many Tetris-like puzzle games released during the late 80s. The gameplay is incredibly simplistic, however highly addictive. 3 blocks of gems fall from the top of the screen, contained in a large rectangular playing field. The 3 gems are contained within one column, and you move said column left or right on the playing field. However, the game constantly moves the blocks downward. You can also speed that up by pressing down if you so desire. As levels increase, the velocity in which the block falls also increases. Like I said, it's all very simple stuff. Your goal is to match 3 or 4 light-colored gems together, either horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. Doing so will cause all of the blocks to disappear and the ones above to fall down, which usually causes even more blocks to disappear as a result. You play for as long as you possibly can until the entire playing field is filled with blocks and no new blocks can fall from the top. There's a single or 2-player mode available, and that's pretty much all I can say about Columns. It's an incredibly addictive puzzle game that has been released on countless platforms over the years. From the Genesis version to iOS, you can find Columns everywhere. So that pretty much wraps up our 4-part special looking at the SEGA Arcade Classics Collection on the SEGA CD. The compilation title contains some truly spectacular 16-bit gems, and I highly recommend you go and pick this one up if you own a Sega CD. You can go ahead and pick up the other one that includes Super Monaco GP if you'd like, and you could be on the lookout because there's even a version that includes, I think there was Echo the Dolphin and or Sonic CD, and then there's some that even included Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, which was actually one of the first games to feature full motion video. Maybe I'll cover that one in a future review. For now, I end off saying that the 4 games released on this version of the SEGA Arcade Classics Collection are well worth your time and money. And considering the low entry fee, this is probably the best way to introduce yourself to 4 classic video games. I hope you've enjoyed this in-depth look at all 4 of these games, and I'll be back next week with more retro goodness.